Hey Ken, how you doing? Yeah, I think she's pretty much on the mark with most of what she
Yes,
said.
really good. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's quite depressing, though. I mean, I had some hope in the testing and tracing, but the way there are factions of people that aren't going to do it in this country, you know?
yeah, and there's so many contacts. I mean, how do you trace people effectively anyway, unless it's a total surveillance state? And
Yeah,
even then, I don't think the technology is quite in place for that just yet, although it may be for other things. But
yeah,
Ken, the point she brought up that wasn't in the report, it wasn't the full report, but elsewhere in her report that we just heard, she talks about the only possible way to handle it effectively to some extent is with herd immunity, such as
yeah,
Sweden has imposed.
right.
And
But
there's medical evidence and a number of doctors who've been shut down on Facebook and on YouTube have been talking about this as the wrong approach, and that one of the worst things you could do is isolate yourself like that, because then nobody builds up an immunity to that and other diseases. That's why
yeah,
people who are always taking antibiotics for everything and this and that, they're the most vulnerable.
yeah,
It's people that are out in the world where some of them become victims of it, but most people will build an immunity,
yeah,
and they're shutting that down. Also, a number of doctors are saying that ventilators are the worst thing. You get a person on a ventilator, and it's curtains for him. Without a ventilator, he has a chance. So a lot of this stuff isn't really thought out very well, or really unknown factors that they're just guessing at, despite the authority that they're saying
yeah.
it with.
I mean, actually, Sweden, there's a headline today, and where it is, but this morning that they're sort of going to a combination. It's not a natural herd immunity situation. They're doing some, shutting down or sheltering in place for some of the older people.
Yeah.
So, and there's whether it's really working, and the question: how many people? Are you allowed to? Will you let die? But I mean, I think what about her? The point about I think we're going to have to live with this thing. I mean, that's one of the points that I
Yeah.
came away with. Just live with it. I mean, how does that look to you in
I
terms of
mean,
life?
what's the alternative? As Trump has been saying, he's been criticized soundly for it. Is how long can you shut down the world economy without
Right.
vast consequences? That even though the in the equation you lose some people, what happens if the whole economy stays shut down? I mean, there's going to be poverty. There's going to be all kinds of social effects of that are going to be severe.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's a dilemma. Nobody wants to just toss people aside. But don't forget too, 80% of the people, according to current statistics, recover from it, and 80% of the people who die from it are either impaired severely with health to begin with, or they're the elderly. A lot of them in nursing homes. So you're going to have those deaths anyway. You had that with the flu, and we didn't shut down the whole economy. I mean, the flu killed more people, and we've had waves of that, and we just accepted it that older people and people with health conditions are more vulnerable. That's the state of the affairs. But we didn't take this drastic measure, which isn't that effective anyway. Now, early on, if they stop incoming flights, incoming tourism, whatever from other countries, that may have slowed it down to begin with. But don't forget,
Right.
even Dr. Fauci, as you know, I'm a critic of Dr. Fauci. He said that he didn't think that any kind of travel restrictions would be effective. He said that publicly, and he said it to Trump. So again, Trump was getting a lot of bum advice or half-baked advice from all these so-called experts. So, you know, Trump is what he is, but this blame isn't entirely falling on his shoulders.
Well, up here, we're going to open up, as you probably heard earlier, Cuomo says we're going to open up in this area, which is, Delaware County,
Yeah,
on Friday, and it includes restaurants and some, landscaping businesses and that sort of thing.
yeah.
But I mean, from people I've talked to, no one's really going out. I mean, this is the economy is not going to rapidly back
Yeah.
to where it was.
Well, that's another thing. People are not going to venture out freely, at least for a while. Although I
Yeah,
think counter to that, Ken, I think what's also going to happen is people are getting so sick of this, and more people are getting skeptical of just how bad it is. I don't know, how much it's exaggerated and all that, but whatever. After a while, people are getting this isolation syndrome, and they want to get out. So I think there's going to be more defiance of these bans.
Yeah.
Whether that's good or bad, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, how is it down your way? I mean, is it what's the attitude of people around Scranton in that area?
Well, I think everybody's getting itchy down here, to get out again. But most people are observing fairly well, the imposition that the governor has imposed so many restrictions. But now he's starting to open up on that again. And Scranton is a conservative area. A lot of it is Trump country, But but they're pretty much they're behaving so far. But again, that's only going to last so long. People are, after a while, people are going to say, "The hell with it," I mean, the fear, which I think in their minds is becoming less specific, and people generally, I don't know about up in your area, but people in general down here are becoming more and more skeptical of whether they're getting the real
Well, the
dope.
thing up here also is there's some children in New York City have gotten this disease.
Yeah.
That a disease kind of related to the coronavirus, and that's caused a lot of concern among parents and that sort of thing. I think about 38 people have gotten it, and 3 or 4 have died. So that's a big worry up here.
But then again, I mean, a number of younger people are going to get it anyway with the flu and all that, depending on their pre-existing condition, genetics, or whatever. So again, there's so many unknowns in this. And here's another thing, Ken. At the risk of sounding like a conspiracy nut, there's an economic factor in this. Now, people are making money hand over fist already, especially the drug companies are going to be making even more. Gilead now is coming out with remdesivir, which is supposed to be a drug that's going to be effective. They're talking about charging thousands of dollars per dose, even though the U.S. government, the taxpayers, us, paid Gilead in the research and development of it. And Gilead also was already highly criticized for some past tricks that they pulled with some of the other vaccines that they came up with, where they were charging an arm and a leg. And they got so much criticism, and they were fined by the federal government. So, Gilead, dollar signs, and a lot of other people are seeing that. So again, are the numbers exaggerated? Because don't forget, every time the hospital deems a death due to coronavirus or complications from coronavirus, they make a lot of money in reimbursements from the government. So again, are the numbers exaggerated?
Yeah.